All right, let's start our basic tour of Tradingview, looking at some initial options that you might want to set up for yourself. One of the most common differentiators I see between people doing charting is what they set their background color to, or what they set their candle color to. So all of those options, as you can see, are in here. You have the body of your candle, colors, the borders, the wick. You can change any of that however you want or see fit. You can also go to the canvas and change the background. So if you want the white background like classic, or the black background that most people tend to favor these days for the dark mode, you have all those options. So, take a minute when you first open it up and pop through your different options, the ones that jump out at you. To build your toolbox, you need to know what are your tools. Up here at this first little tab here, you'll notice that you can either select that to have the tool and use it, or you can hit that little side arrow, and that brings down all the tools that are available in this particular submenu. For myself, I use Trendline, so I'm going to add that to my favorites. I use the horizontal line, the horizontal ray, the vertical line, parallel channel. I use regression trend. If we come to this next menu, I use the fib retracement, forecasting and measurement. So for me as a trader, I often do longs and shorts, fixed range, volume profile, price range. Price range is the most important tool just to tell, what percentage gains or losses I'm looking at comparatively. Can't get far without a brush. Sometimes you just want to doodle on there. Having arrows, things like that might be helpful. I use rectangles quite a lot. I use a rotated rectangle sometimes. Sometimes having a path is good. Sometimes having a circle can be useful. So that's your basic toolbars along here. The last thing I will put here is I will add the cross cursor itself to my favorites. Just because one tool in particular, when you use brush, you'll draw something. Okay, I'm done drawing that. And then I might want to move a line or something, but I'm still in brush. And every time I press it, gadzooks, I have stuff all over. So Control Z, 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 Z gets rid of that. But when I'm done my brush stroke, I'm going to quickly hit this to go back to just my basic selection tool. You can pick up and move these around if you click and drag them. The lesser used ones I kind of put back here. I want them handy. I don't want to have to go digging for them out of here. I don't remember which little submenu things are in. So first tool, the trend line. What can you do with a trend line? You can draw a line in any direction from any 2 points. What does this line mean? Nothing. Let's draw a line that actually means something. So typically when people talk about trends, they talk about the way price behaves or reacts to a certain point, and they use that predictively. So someone sees this is an uptrend, it keeps touching and it stays above the trend. That means the trend is valid. I draw these all the time. Sometimes it depends on which particular time frame you're looking at, right? So if I want to do a breakdown, I might notice that this here acts as resistance. So I have my tool located over top. Usually I put my my whole little shortcut bar down here because I don't need these time increment buttons. I have time increment buttons up at the top that I am more often going to. And draw a trend like that, and you can see, this kind of ping-ponged around. Another way these trend lines can be useful is they can be for notation. So you can say attach a trend line there, double tap on this to open up your options, and say you want to write some text. Say, very important note. Let's make sure it shows up. Let's make sure it's big because it's a very important note. You know, this could be if you're taking note that something happened in the financial world, or war breaks out, or whatever it is you want to take note of, you can easily attach it a trend line. So that kind of replaces the need for any of these text box or well, these like signpost, price labels, call outs, stuff like that. This is the only thing I personally need to make notes and attach it. Now, horizontal ray is like a horizontal line. Let's just show you what a horizontal line looks like. So whatever reason you put that line there, you might say, oh, this is where there's a certain price action behavior or something like that. And you'll notice that it goes all the way back as far as your chart goes. What is this? A horizontal ray, on the other hand, will only come to the point where you locate. So it will be there forever as you go into the future, but it doesn't show up in the past. And this can be really helpful if you want to note, say, for example, where you bought something and was Bitcoin. So let's say I bought 001 of a Bitcoin here. Maybe I'll buy, I don't know, 0.005. Whatever. This could be your notation to have a record of where you are entering and exiting. It can make it a lot easier because in your spreadsheet, maybe you just wrote, oh, I bought 0.001 at 70,900. Okay, great. You know that. What does it look like though when you're trying to decide, is this a good time to buy based on a range or any sort of price action? Very easy to tell, oh, I bought this at the low end of the range. So maybe as you're coming up here, you know, you want to sell 0.002 of them and have 0.003 left because you think maybe it will rock it up, but oh no, it comes back down again. So you kind of note here with a different color, I sold 0.002. And then because you took the profits and you bought in at a discount down here, change it back to your buy color and, you know, say that you bought another 0.005, whatever. This can be a way to visually keep track of your stuff. Eventually things will get cluttered and you may want to consolidate it so that you have one kind of averaged in price that doesn't take into account every buy and sell, but that's up to you, however you want to do it. Get creative, experiment with ways, find new ways. For everybody, it's a lot of trial and error to find what works best for their own kind of way of thinking. The next important tool to show you is the rectangle. A rectangle will draw a rectangle. Oh, huge surprise. You can have text in here if you want. You can rearrange and change the shape a bit. I find rectangles are really good if I want something that's even more standout than a trend line to attach a note to. But by far the biggest thing I do with rectangles is identify ranges. Say we were looking here. Let's come back down to the daily so we have a little more granularity, you know, and say we're observing around this time here. Well, the first thing I might have done is identified that pretty much within here to here, we're kind of trading in a range. It goes up, it touches. Sometimes you have what are called deviations outside of ranges. Remember, no single line is exact. There's no perfect way to draw things. The price action, the rest of the market does not know that you drew this box. So just because you drew a box or a line, do not expect for things to pan out the way you want. This is just a way for you to visually organize and arrange information. I find for me, the most useful thing for the rectangles is to kind of isolate areas of action. So right here, I'll notice that each time, let's move it up a little bit. Let's make it. Each time price kind of pushed up into here, it was rejected, right? It pushed up, it was rejected. And then it comes down here, pushes up, it's rejected, pushes up, it's rejected. So to me, this whole area is where a lot of sellers step in. Are they selling because they're just really profitable from wherever they bought, or are they selling because they need to get it off their books? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Clearly, when the sellers step in, this isn't just buyers deciding, oh, I won't buy anymore. Although that is the other half of the equation. Things will get so expensive that buyers don't want to buy. But when you see this kind of consistent behavior, that's telling you something. That's giving you a little bit of predictive insight to know that as you approach those levels, don't necessarily expect to pass it. And you can also see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish, 7-ish touches, to this area, depending how you drew that rectangle. One of the most important tools for a person who is making their plans is the price range. Let's say your basic average buy-in here, and you've bought 1/100th of a Bitcoin. You've watched it be worth more, you've watched it be worth less. With this little tool, you can tell what is 20% above the price, what is 50% above the price, what is 100%, and so on. So if you sit there and you make your plan and you say, of this, I'm going to look to sell when I hit 25%, I want to sell 10%, right? So maybe you write a little thing there. You say that's 0.001. And we were using red for sell, but let's say orange is what you're planning to sell, and maybe red is what you've confirmed that you've sold. However you want to do it, it just has to make sense to you. It was the text color I changed, not the line color. Either way, so this is a plan, and then you tell yourself, when I hit 50%, I want to sell a little bit more. So that's where we are now, and this is where we would have been hitting, and we would have sold maybe double what we sold before. So remember, this here is 10% of what you sold. This is 20% of what you sold. As you make more profit, the need to take your profit increases. This is a great little tool as well to tell you how much you've drawn down. The parallel channel and the regression trend are very useful for helping you at least get a baseline for what you're looking at in terms of top end, bottom end, kind of rangy, things like that. So the regression trend will do it for you automatically. You press it and you start the beginning of your time frame and to the end of your time frame, and it will show you, oh, this is the top half, and this is the bottom half of where price has lived during this time period. And if a person was just looking at regression trend for, a trade strategy, well, when you're near the top of this range, you're probably looking to sell what you bought near the bottom of this range. Understanding if you're in a downtrend, you're a slightly different strategy than if you're in an uptrend. Now, this is always going to automatically fit to the closest possible match, but that may not be what you really want to look at. You may want to set your own outer perimeter and say, oh, okay, well, if I'm looking at this here, where do I see the closest fit if I'm raising it up? Does this leave too much out? Does this include enough? Whatever your reasons, a parallel channel will just give you the simple ability to set wherever you want that parallel channel to be, and you can change it, arrange it however you want. Fib retracement is a hugely useful tool that a lot of people use to decide where to enter or re-enter. So if you look at like an impulse move like this, you can see, things were just kind of trickling along or whatever. But then when we touched here at this point, that sent a rocket up. So you kind of measure with the fib retracement tool and you come up to here and you can see, oh, okay, if price comes up to here and say this here is actually a hard ceiling, a lot of the time you see people refer to the 0.618 as the golden pocket. It's often the case where price, after it makes a big push up, will kind of retrace to the 618 and then it will continue its upward push. So you see a lot of people stepping in around the 618 if they believe that momentum is going to continue to be upward or bullish, as they say. Next up for us is the long and short position. Let's say we entered the trade right there and we're in a long, and we said we can handle price coming back down this far, and we think price is going to go up to wherever 110,000. Now, as we sat here and watched, we would see when price was above where we started, we're in profit. And if price was below where we started, it would look red like this. This is just a tool for us to be able to see and track and project, and also to be able to tell what our risk to reward is. So when we first enter, we set here and here, you can see the risk to reward is close to 1. So there's about as much chance in this scenario, in this particular trade, there's about as much room to lose as there is to gain. Most often traders are looking for something that's at least 2 to 1, if not 3 to 1. That way they only need to win, 2 to 3 trades out of 10 in order to remain profitable. It's the same for shorts, except a short obviously is paying you as you go down, and your stop loss is up here. This one here, the fixed range visible profile. This is important more so to traders than investors, but like that regression curve, you select a start time and you select an end time on your chart. What will it do? It will show you where most of the volume occurred. In this entire range along here, the most trades occurred at this price level. So that includes here, here, all across here, all across here. That's where most money changed hands. The brush, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to doodle on your chart, you can do that and have fun doing it. The vertical line, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to draw a vertical line, again, the horizontal line like before, it's just going to be a line that goes all the way across. And if you ever actually wanted to just make this intersection itself, there is the cross line. And wherever you draw that, will draw an intersection of a horizontal and vertical line. The rotated box. Now, the circle is great for noting things if you're sharing information with people. The path is great for establishing trend direction. So right now we're on the 1 hour candle, starting with the path here. Kind of come up to here. It comes down for a little bit, comes up, comes down. This is kind of our up, our down, our up. We come down here, and this is also a great way to disengage that one, because that one stays engaged until you escape out of it. This is a lot of how people analyze trends. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Sometimes it can be helpful too to change if you're looking at candles. Candles are a definite must-have, but sometimes it's nice to just look at the line, and the line will show you how was price moving through this area. This trend line that I drew, let's see what it looks like on the 4 hour. Does it support the 4 hour? Yeah, it does. It kind of fits a little bit better. It kind of shows that as well on the daily. Let's change the color from the actual color of the line, but you can see how this trend is observed through different time ranges. So that's all the tools that I use for drawing, by and large. Every now and then I might throw in a little emoji for some reason,